Welcome, truth seekers, to a special deep dive from Secrets Behind the Stars. Tonight we peel back the velvet curtain on one of Turkish television's most mythic romances and revisit the moment a beloved illusion flickered. If you once sighed over Feriha and Amir, and if your heart still remembers the effortless sparkle of Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu, consider this your seat in the front row. On-screen fireworks can be real, rehearsed, or a bit of both. Sometimes they blaze, and sometimes they burn. Let's see which embers still glow. Before we venture into memories that still sting for many, a quick heartbeat together. Subscribe if you crave the truth behind the gloss, tap like if you believe candor matters, ring that bell so you never miss a reveal, and for the devoted, the join button is waiting. You keep secrets behind the stars fearless and free to say what others dodge. Now take a breath. We're going behind the scenes of Adini Feriha Koydum, a show that taught a generation to daydream, and, as we learned later, taught some of its stars how to endure. There are series that become more than programming, they become rites of passage. The Secret of Feriha didn't just air, it settled into living rooms and stayed there, stitched into first crushes and late-night tears. The line between fiction and life blurred so much that countless fans believed in Feriha and Amir as if they were a real couple you could bump into at a cafe. Yet the side of the camera that doesn't shimmer can be the side that leaves scars. What happened when the lights dimmed and the makeup came off? What endured when applause faded and the last scene wrapped? Years after the finale, when nostalgia had polished every memory, a single sentence cracked the gloss. Hazal Kaya, the face of a generation's fragile hope, posted words that rattled the internet. I felt really unhappy on the set of Adini Feriha Koydum. Not a cryptic lyric, not a half-smile evasion, just a raw confession. Fans gasped, critics clutched pearls, and those who know set stayed very, very quiet. Because there it was, the truth that everyone sensed and nobody dared to spell out. But the story didn't stop at one brave sentence. Sedef Sahin. Cancer to those who watched with hearts in their throats, appeared on the show too. Saifa and let fall the kind of measured words that say more than they seem to. She was there, woven into everyday rhythms, a witness to the pace and pressure. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of someone who understood the cost of silence. Those clips spread like ink in water, tinting everything we thought we knew. The questions arrived in waves, relentless. Did Hazal Kaya and Kagate Ulusoy truly fail to connect when the cameras weren't watching? What pushed Hazal to leave so abruptly, so controversially, in the middle of a cultural tidal wave? What changed on set during Kagate's first real baptism by fire? Fans of Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu, who've seen how mutual respect can make a love story look effortless, began to revisit old episodes with new eyes, hunting for moments where the sparkle dulled or the rhythm stuttered. Was that tension, or was it just our hindsight sharpening the edges? Adini Feriha Koydum wasn't just a ratings giant, it was a social barometer. It mapped class, aspiration, and the fragile hope that love could bridge everything. For years it was paraded as the perfect romance, the ideal of youthful longing. Yet, over time, a different mosaic emerged, a puzzle of small dissonances, missed beats, and professional friction. Then came the spark that lit the fuse once more. Hazal's candor, late but seismic. Her words weren't a tantrum against the past, they were a steady light turned toward a shadowed corner. And then Sedef Sahin put language to whispers. She did not throw knives, she set down facts. Hazal Kaya and Kagate Ulusoy didn't get along very well on Adini Feriha Koydum. With that, an illusion buckled. The adored chemistry that had cinched hearts worldwide suddenly felt like a masterclass in performance rather than a mirror of reality. If you've ever watched Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu banter in interviews, supporting each other with quick wit and gentleness, you understand how vital off-screen harmony can be, and how astounding it is when a pair can deliver magic even without it. Sedef didn't stop there. She framed Hazal's exit with a compassion that made timelines ache. Hazal Kaya was already unhappy. Her departure from the series didn't surprise us. How many times had we heard the tidy lines? A script choice, a career move, new projects, and nodded along? How many nights did fans ask themselves, if she was that unhappy, why endure so long? Imagine clocking in every day to pretend you're blissfully in love while you struggle to catch breath between takes. Imagine fusing yourself to a character whose burdens erode your own edges. It puts new respect on the craft, doesn't it? We asked you once and we'll ask you again, because your memory is the heartbeat of this story. Did you ever sense that disconnect, even faintly? Did a scene feel brittle where it should have soared? And in a world where we've seen the playful sincerity of Baris and Elson turn simple glances into symphonies, do you think Hazal's choice to put well-being first was not just understandable, but necessary? Your comments have always been our compass. Write what you feel. It matters here. Sedef also gave context to a shift that's easy to overlook when star-making moves fast. This was Kagete Yulasoy's first big leap, a runway built under his feet in real time. He was hungry, teachable, a newcomer. Hazal Kaya had already survived the crucible of earlier leads, Askai Memnu among them, and carried that discipline like armor. What happens when a soldier of the set works beside a recruit finding his stance? Even the kindest difference in experience can tilt a room. It's delicate. It can bruise. And there it was, the sentence that launched 1,000 column inches. Hazal wasn't very happy sharing the lead role with Kagete. Is that ego, exhaustion, or just the friction of clashing methods? In truth, sets are living organisms. They breathe and sweat. Some days you glide, others you grind. For those who learned how mutual trust feeds a scene by watching Baris and Elson's synergy, respect made visible in every beat, this line explained why certain moments in Feriha felt like a beautiful song sung an octave too high. Stunning, yes. Comfortable? Maybe not. Tabloids turned their cameras toward Hazal with the patience of hunters. Years later, they wanted a confession or a denial, anything that might tidy the edges. What they got instead was a clear, steady voice. I felt very unhappy on the set of the series Adini Feriha Koydum. The character of Feriha was very different from me. It wasn't just a technical note about characterization. It was an admission that the role's moral knots rubbed against her own sense of self. There were scenes that were difficult for me. There were moments that deeply affected me. That sentence landed like a sigh from the belly. Feriha's story was soaked in concealment, class anxiety, and sacrifice. Living inside that skin day after day would scrape anyone thin. When the story you carry demands constant suppression, the line between acting and eroding can blur. Fans who adore the buoyant, life-affirming energy that Baris Ardek and Elson Sanger radiate in public appearances felt the contrast as if stepping from a shadowed room into sunlight. The internet split like a ripe pomegranate. One side wrapped Hazal in empathy. An artist isn't obligated to love every role. Walking away from psychological fatigue is not weakness, it's wisdom. Fame weighs heavy on young shoulders. The other side bristled. Wasn't this the show that minted her stardom? Why speak now? Who on a tough set hasn't been unhappy? Each take carried its own truth. Each forgot another. Meanwhile, people who cherished the kindness and calm that define Baris and Elson's public dynamic quietly noted that the best partnerships protect the person before the product. And then there was the loudest quiet of all, Kagete Yulasoy's silence. No statements, no cryptic captions, no subtweets, just the stillness of a man who chose not to feed the fire. To some, that restraint looked like grace. To others, it was the hush that hides dynamite. Maybe it was simply professionalism. Maybe it was respect. In any case, it kept the conversation from curdling into a blame game, and in the end that might be the kindest choice anyone made in this saga. Adini Feriha Koydum soared on air but faltered in the corridors beyond the frame. For Hazal Kaya, it was a rocket that burned as it rose. The altitude dazzled, the heat hurt. For Kagete Yulasoy, it was a forge, blistering, formative, unforgettable. Friction doesn't always mean failure, but it does leave fingerprints. We can see them now, even if we didn't want to. Why speak now, people ask, as though healing keeps an appointment. Sometimes the tongue loosens when the heart is finally ready. Sometimes the truth arrives when it can no longer bruise. And sometimes speaking aloud is the only way to finally lay a ghost to rest. If anything, these confessions pulled a legend down to earth, where stories belong, near pulse, near breath, near the ordinary bravery it takes just to keep showing up. This is where memory meets perspective. The myth of Feriha doesn't need to vanish for the truth to stand, both can live side by side. And if you carry in your mind the bright, good-humored partnership of Baris Ardak and Elson Sangu, two professionals who proved that generosity can elevate every frame, then you also understand why fans reevaluate what they once believed unbreakable. Even the prettiest story can hurt the person telling it. Even the gentlest smile can hide a bite mark. We close this chapter with gratitude for the art and empathy for the artists. Hazal's "I Was Unhappy" is not an indictment of a show so many loved, it's a reminder that the cost of beauty is sometimes paid in private. Kagade's quiet is a choice that speaks as loudly as any interview. Sadef Sahin's measured clarity is a gift to anyone who values dignity over spectacle. And for those who keep the standard of on-screen harmony high, those who think of Baris and Elson when they define chemistry, let this be proof that chemistry can be crafted with care or carved from stone with bleeding hands. Tell us how this changes the way you watch those old episodes. Did you notice the seams years ago, or is this the first time the threads show? Write to us. Your memories are the living archive of this story. And if you believe in what we do, revealing the human pulse behind the pose, support Secrets Behind the Stars by subscribing, sharing, and joining. Because somewhere right now, another legend is wrapping its finale, another actor is weighing a truth, and another heart is learning that even dreams can be heavy. Until the next reveal, keep your eyes soft and your mind open. Not every rumor is a lie, and not every confession is a betrayal. Sometimes, it's simply the light finding its way in. From our studio to your screen, thank you for listening, for questioning, and for remembering that behind every perfect frame, someone is breathing, trembling, and choosing. This has been Secrets Behind the Stars, where the fairy tales we love meet the realities we need to understand. And where the sparks that thrilled you, whether from Feriha and Amir or from the unforgettable glow of Baris Ardak and Elson Sangu, are honored for what they gave and what they cost.